Parents of Reddit, what why? Has your toddler thrown you that even Google couldn't answer?
Silent scan.
My 4-year-old asked me, how many arms does an octopus have? 8, I replied. Let's ask Google, my son said, doubting the veracity of my answer. Fine, I say. Okay Google, how many arms does an octopus have? 6, she replies. Or, thanks a lot, Google.
Silent scan.
Do caterpillars burp? Google had no idea. Hold on, I have a friend that has a PhD in the study of caterpillars. Lem AskReddit got the answer. I talked with some of my lab mates, and we agreed that they don't. Caterpillars get oxygen through tubes in their sides, instead of anything through their mouth, so they don't have muscles to pull air into their mouths. If they do get some air caught between pieces of food, we are pretty confident that the air will just diffuse out of their gut into their blood.
Silent scan.
My niece, 5 at the time, asked me who was the first mother. I was confused and asked, what do you mean? Your mother's mother? And she goes, no, my mother's mother had a mother, and then she had a mother too, but how far does it go? Who was the first mother? Do you want a new religion? Because this is where religions come from.
Silent scan.
Man, my toddlers are easy, they usually just want to know why they have to have a nap, or put on clean socks. My 6 and 7-year-olds, however, throw some weird shit at me. I got really excited the other day when my 7-year-old asked me why some trees lose their leaves in the winter, but pine trees and other spiky trees keep theirs. I did a brief explanation about the difference between deciduous and coniferous trees, and how chlorophyll is collected and stored. It went great. He immediately followed it up with, how do we know that some cities and houses actually have real people in them, and aren't really just full of plastic cutouts that look like people?
Silent scan.
Come on baby, it's time to get dressed and get out of bed. We do this every day. Why, mama? Good point, go back to bed.
Silent scan.
Obligatory, not a parent, but I was babysitting a 4 years old and the child pointed to a cooler out in the backyard and said, child, do you want to go die in that cooler out there? Me, no thank you. Child, why not? I would enjoy watching that. Me, because I like my life the way it is, I'm happy and there's no need to die yet. Child, why? Pretty sure I'd babysit a future serial killer.
Silent scan.
Mom, why don't I have a pee hose like the boys? I laughed so hard, I couldn't come up with a legit answer.
Silent scan.
My 5-year-old asked me why the world goes on forever and we do the same thing over and over again every day. Sorry bud, I was hoping you would get to adulthood before feeling like that. Wow, I never heard of toddler with a midlife crisis before.
Silent scan.
Me, I love you 3-year-old, why? Me, because you're my little boy, 3-year-old, why? It's been 2 weeks, and I'm still evaluating why. Send me on an existential journey.
Silent scan.
True story. Mom. What's the thing you put in your butt? She asked this for years and I would constantly tell her you don't put things in your butt. She would ask this all the time. Initially I was terrified she may have. Finally I got the answer. In Walmart. At the checkout. As I'm purchasing tampons she screams at the top of her lungs, those are what you stick up your butt. I must have had her with me at one time, and it traumatized her. Although not more than I was in Walmart that day.
Silent scan.
What does spider poop look like?
Silent scan.
Son, pointing, Daddy, what's that? Me, that's a cow. Son, why? Me.
Silent scan.
My nephew has had a couple of pretty good ones, like, why is it Thursday, and, why are hands attached to arms, and, why is that a fox, but my singular favorite has to be what is outside for, I don't really know, man.
Silent scan.
I was heading back from a game on the train a few years ago and there was a boy and his dad. Kid was 5 or 6. For a solid 90 minutes, that kid asked his dad question after question after question. His dad answered every single one patiently, simply, and handled all the follow-ups. He listened to the kid, thought for a moment, and then calmly blew the kid's mind over and over again. Dad, what's that in that field? Dad, why are the lights on the ceiling instead of the floor? Dad, what are beans made of? Dad, who knows where we are now? And so on. The kid was so wonderfully curious. By an hour in, all the seats around were listening in and grinning at each other. I learned all sorts of stuff listening in. It was incredible. I'm a dad now, and I just hope I can be like that dad for my kids. It was amazing.
Silent scan.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to get even more awesome content. Come on, it just takes 1 second.
Silent scan.
When my daughter was 4 or 5, she'd get on a Y-roll and would just rapid fire questions without ever waiting for an answer. She'd just get that little mouth motor warmed up and off she'd go. So one day, in a bit of daddy frustration, I asked her, "Why do you ask so many questions?" She looked at me and said, "Why do I?" And that was that, and I went to do something else.
Silent scan.
My child asked me why the toy Santa brings all say made in China on them. Took me 3 days to come up with the answer that the elves source materials from China. The question just took me by surprise. Figure this was the last year she would believe in Santa.
Silent scan.
Why aren't you rich? We decided to have you instead of money.
Silent scan.
6-year-old son, Dad, what if my nuts were pop rocks and they made my penis sparkle? Me, that wouldn't be very good. I don't know how else to respond to that. Son, why? Me, go to sleep please.
Silent scan.
If daddy is colorblind, why does he always pick the red cars? Actually flawed me. Their father is not just colorblind, but extremely colorblind. On the tests, he fails to see any color differences at all. Despite this, every car he buys is red. He cannot even see red. I don't know why he picks them either. I don't know what he sees in its place, and he can't explain it to me.
Silent scan.
Not a why, but as a child I saw a bald black man at the mall and shouted Michael Jordan. He apparently was very nice when my mom apologized and asked where we were from. No wonder he thinks that. Not many black people from there. Can I speak to him for a second? Said something along the lines, "I'm not Michael, I just look like him, but there are plenty of people in the world that do, young man. You must like him how?" Said a few other things and went on his way.
Silent scan.
I've been waiting for a thread like this. I've got some zingers from my nephew 1, who can run faster than God. Everybody because he's dead. 2. How old will I be when you're 150? 3. What are you doing, Kuma, the dog? You're killing my life. 4. I was gonna get married at recess, but we ran out of time. 5. My sister, I'm your mom, so I'm the boss of you. Nephew under his breath, we'll see about that. 6. I wanna eat a lot of candy, so I can get fat and float in the water. 7. I'm weird. I like eating Play-Doh. I nibble little bits. 8. Nephew looks at my sister and says, "Do you want that?" You have a couple nipples on your chin. 9. Wakes up just to yell what the end, falls back asleep.
Silent scan.
A few days ago he was staring out the window and asked, "Why am I me?" I didn't even know how to respond to that one. I was just like, "Damn, you alright buddy?"
Silent scan.
As he's staring at his hand intensely for the entire car ride to school, "Daddy, what if the fingers on my hand grew tiny hands and those fingers grew tiny hands?" Little dude was maybe 5 or 6. But it was like having a conversation with a podhead.
Silent scan.
Daughter points at me and asks why my hair is so weird. I'm bald.
Silent scan.
Don't touch the pot, it's hot. You'll get burned. Why? Because it's hot. Okay. Why? I want to touch. Because I told you not to. Okay. Why not? Because you'll get hurt if you do. Touch it slowly. Don't touch the pot, because if you do I'll hide the iPad. Naughty mama. Time out for you.
Silent scan.
Congratulations, you reached the end of this awesome video. Now, like and subscribe, like we talked earlier, come on.
Silent scan.